Early childhood program for 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and our Head Start performance standards and Head Start outcomes have a real emphasis on early literacy.
We also provide a lot of activities for our families so that they have opportunities to train, and when we ask them to set a goal, a lot of times that is a literacy goal. They're going back to college, etc. In order to qualify for Head Start, you have to live in the area that we serve, which there are government designated boundaries. They have to be 3 by August 31st, and they have to be in a certain income bracket, which we have income guidelines that the government produces every year. So if there's 4 in your family, then you need to make less than $15,000, for an example. And that's not a quote, but as an example.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if you know that the Olathe Head Start serves other school districts. We serve Blue Valley, DeSoto, Spring Hill, and Gardner-Edgerton. Okay. We have a site we have a classroom in Gardner, and we have 2 sites here in Olathe.
It's federally funded by a grant each year, and we renew that grant in April of each year for the following year.
Reading out loud is the single most important thing you can share with your child for building the knowledge for a successful future.
Parents as role models, it starts there. So if a parent is a role model and going to college and has an education and reading books, that's the direction their children are going to go. A lot of our parents are still kids themselves, and if they didn't have parents that were role models for them in the area of reading, literacy, just being an example of sitting down, reading the newspaper, reading the book. If they're not doing anything and they have no direction, they have no opportunities, they have no money to be able to play basketball or dance or do something constructive, that's where that ends up turning into they choose something else that is usually not constructive, and it's a cycle. One of the other things that plays into it would be money. If they don't have enough money to go to college and they don't have, they didn't graduate, so then maybe they don't have the resources until they get into Head Start. When they get into Head Start, we give them the resources to get their GED or to go to Step Up and, get the rest of their education.
I'll most definitely recommend them. From my understanding, children establish everything they're going to have throughout life between 2 and 4. So during that preschool experience, they're establishing their whole success from just coming to Head Start.
We had a service learning student a few years back that did not want to go in the classroom, and she was very uncomfortable. We encouraged her to go in the classroom. And the following year, she started the early childhood program at JUCO. She did her observation interacting with us. She did her student teaching with us, and she came back for a while to volunteer until she got a job.
I'm Angela Miller, and I have been working at Kohl's in Olathe for the past couple years. At Kohl's we have a volunteer team called the A-Team, and we go out and volunteer in the community, and when 5 of us volunteer, our corporate office donates a $500 grant to that organization.
We had a family from Katrina, and of course they had everything wiped out. So the night that we had a reading night and we offered books, the families can come and get as many books as they want. And this little family and the little boy, the mother had a huge, the books that we get donated are for all ages. So we separate it so mom can get her books and the older kids and the younger children. And they walked out, every one of the family members walked out with a huge bag of books and the biggest smile on their face And they just were overwhelmed with how that felt to have their library again.
Hi, my name is Arnie Aaron, and I'm the volunteer coordinator with the Olathe Family Resource Center. And I actually started about 10 or 11 years ago as an AmeriCorps Vista volunteer, and we work with many families who are way below poverty level and whose command of the English language is minimal, both in reading and in writing. The group of people we work with come from other countries, so they're basically skilled in the language that they in their home country, but when they come here for various reasons, whether they're economic or political or whatever reason they came to the United States, they are not skilled in English for the most part. It's not that they can't learn a language, it's just that they haven't been brought up with the English language. So to get them acculturated into the United States, we work with many, many families and at various levels of English proficiency. You can imagine being in a country where you don't understand the language, you don't understand the rules, you may or may not drive, you may or may not understand, if you do drive, you may or may not understand the rules of driving. That's one of the liabilities that people coming from other countries have. Another is that when they go to fill out forms for Social Security or any government forms, they're all in English. So they have to either bring the forms home, try to figure out somebody to go with them to help them fill out forms. In addition, if they have children, the children learn English much faster. Children learn languages, whether it's English or other languages, much faster than adults. So the adults are lagging behind their children, and the children become the power brokers in the family because they can understand English. So the adults have to go through their children to understand what's going on. Well, that gives the children a lot of power. So there's a problem not just with literacy, but with the family dynamics. It tends to isolate people when they can't have a conversation or intermingle with other people and be a part of that group.